Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Seth, and I'm here to bring you a tutorial on how to make Universe Mode fun in WWE 2K23. I've been testing for hours. I've made so many save files in this mode because I just wanted to make it fun. The way they have this mode just come out with the game for me is no fun. I am not the type of guy that likes to manually book my shows and set up all the storylines and rivalries and change my matches around to what I want. I want universe mode to auto book for me, and I even like to create a wrestler and have a universe mode where I simulate all the other matches except the matches that my created wrestler is in. I like to take them through the mid card and then promote them to the main card and have them go after the main title. But I was struggling last year and this year too to get my creative wrestler matches, and then just in general to make this mode interesting at all. I was so bored. I would play a week of shows and I would be out at that point. So this mode to me, I used to love it. It gave the game so much longevity, um, but it's just not that anymore. But I think I may have found a formula on how to make this mode fun, how to have it auto book for you to make it interesting, to give it some flavor. And then, like I said, if you want to take a creative wrestler through, um, then this is the tutorial for you. So, first and foremost, superstar mode. They've pushed this mode last year and this year as a kind of what I'm talking about. Take your creative wrestler through the universe. This mode sucks. It all it does is it looks at the auto booked Raw or SmackDown and it places your superstar, your wrestler, in a random match if they already don't have one. If you're playing as Roman Reigns and you're booked on the show every week, you're going to play his matches. But if you're playing as a uh, undercard or you're playing as a creative wrestler, it's just going to give you random matches and they aren't going to make any sense. There's no real storyline building and there's no way to really kind of build your guy. So this mode, I do not recommend at all. You got to play classic mode. Uh, do the sandbox mode. So first and foremost, go to options and turn off automatic rivalries. I have watched so many tutorials, and they all say to do this. And I thought they said to do it because they like to manually set up their rivalries, and they don't want it automatically doing that, so I would leave it on. But what I've learned is that the rivalry system makes this mode so boring. You are just gonna have to ignore the whole rivalry system. All it does is sets up uh, rematch after rematch after rematch between two people or a tag team. That's all it does. I had a rivalry with Braun Breaker on NXT before, and I literally fought him like 5 weeks straight until the pay per view where I finally got a title match. It's not fun to fight the same person over and over and over again. So turn those off, and we're just going to ignore the automatic rivalry system. You'll still get the rivalry actions, which makes this mode fun. I want the randomness. I want the kind of random cutscenes. I want the random booking. You know, I don't want to fight the same guy every week until I get a title shot. I want to build my way up by fighting random people and then eventually get my title shot to pay per view. So turn that off. Rivalries, ignore the whole system. Tag team breakups formations, that's up to you. I leave it on because I want to see what my universe mode does with that. Crowd reaction, sure. Injury, yeah. Entrance, sure. Uh, all kind of your preferences there. Now the AI announce cash in, definitely turn that off. If you leave this on, the show directly after your Money in the Bank, the AI is gonna like automatically announce a one-on-one match as the main event for the show for their cash in. And to me, that's no fun. Usually, if it's like they're cashing in on Roman Reigns and they're setting up a match, usually the AI loses. The mid match, that's up to you if you want to leave it in. You could leave it down to a one or completely turn it off. I'm not a big fan of the mid match cash ins. And then the post match cash in, I usually leave up. But to actually have the AI cash in, you need to be playing the match that has the champion in it. So if Roman's your champion, you need to be playing those matches to actually have the AI cash in. If you leave these up and you simulate those matches, the AI will never cash in the money in the bank. You have to play the matches to have them cash in, or you can just turn them off and manually do it yourself. Um, After an Extreme Rules match, if that's when you want somebody to cash in their money in the bank, you can just turn those off completely. So again, we're going to ignore the rivalry system. And then tag teams, I would try to wait to do your tag teams, because what I've noticed is when you start universe mode, it auto books your first week here, right? There's no way to get it to rebook this after you update your roster and change your champions and change your match table and change the number of matches for the show. The only way I got it to kind of rebook itself was by creating and editing tag teams. So if you want to set your roster first, that's probably the way to go. And then when you go to create and edit tag teams, your Raw might actually rebook, so you can actually play this Raw. If it's all messed up, then you're just going to have to simulate and go to your next show, whether you leave NXT on here or you don't, and you just go to SmackDown. You might have to throw uh, away your first Raw, but try to wait to do your tag teams, and it might actually rebook to your match table and to your numbers and with your your current roster. While we're here, let's talk about superstars. The allies and enemies system, I have not noticed that it does anything. In the past, enemies would run in on you and interfere in your matches, and allies would come to your rescue and stuff. What I noticed with rivalries being off and the kind of rivalry actions dictating all that stuff now is that it doesn't really matter who your allies and enemies are. Uh, if you have certain rivalry actions happen against you, you might get an enemy there. But again, it doesn't really do anything long term. So I don't know if you really need to worry about those. I wouldn't. You can go through and clear them out if you want to. And another note about allies and rivalries, because I was confused on this for a while. I thought, Montez Ford is his tag team partner here, so I'm thinking level 1 is the highest ally level, but it's actually level 5. So if you want to move tag team partners all the way up to level 5 to make them like strong allies, I recommend doing that. I was always confused. Same with enemies. Level 5 is going to be your highest level there, because at the manager level 3 is the highest. So it goes through to allies and rivals as well here. But again, haven't really noticed allies and enemies doing anything and having any effect on anything. But obviously, manager does. So if you want Roman to have Paul Heyman as his main manager every time, you can move him up, because for some reason, like the Usos are his highest levels. You can move Paul Heyman up, and you could even take them out and put Solo in at level 2 if you want to. But yeah, level 3 and level 5s in the allies and enemies are the highest levels. But again, I wouldn't spend so much time on them, and then it's probably a waste anyways. The next thing is probably going into your shows and touching up your roster. If you want to take a created superstar and you want him to get auto booked and you want to build him up through the card, you kind of want to make your roster smaller. I noticed, like I have a male wrestler, and if I wanted him to get auto booked, I pretty much had to take out the whole female division, because they were taking up matches on the card. So my guy had fewer matches to get into, And I also had to put him at the 4 spot in his division, but we'll get to that in a second. So mess around with your participants. The draft's going on right now, so it's exciting. You can kind of mix up rosters and see how it plays out here. The number of matches, if you're going to be playing every match on every show, I recommend kind of adjusting this accordingly. You know, take Raw down to 7 and SmackDown to 4, um, just so you're not like wanting to die playing 9 matches on Raw and 9 matches on SmackDown. And then match table is something else that uh, really has an effect on how much fun you can have with auto booking. For some reason, 2K is like, yeah, 6 match types. That's all you need. That's plenty of diversity and a good way to have fun. Like, no, not at all. And like some of these you might not even want. The mixed gender tag, uh, those can be annoying. The 6-man triple threat tornado tags, even those can be annoying and they could take like a half hour sometimes. So if you want to take those out, you can, and then just kind of have fun with this. If you want to put a steel cage in, go ahead. And I recommend putting these kind of specialty matches in at 1% and a 1 limit. 1% is seems like it's going to happen super rare, and you might go a couple weeks and be like, well, I haven't had a steel cage. You will get specialty matches at 1%. They might happen every couple weeks, but I would fill this up. Do one-on-one and do like a no holds barred, and just kind of go crazy with it, man. If you want to do a friggin' 6-man Hell in a Cell, you can throw that on there. But again, I would just leave it at 1%. You're still gonna get specialty matches. They're not gonna happen all the time though, which is good. And limit them at 1, or else even at 1%, you could get 2 or 3 steel cage matches if you have 9 matches on your show. So limited them at 1. The main event button here and the championship buttons here are broken. Don't even try to use them. When you have a kind of second page of match types here and you check these boxes for main event, the main event kind of moves around, as you can see. Like, it was on 2-on-2 mixed gender tag, now it's on 6-man triple threat, now it's on fatal 4-way normal, and it just doesn't stay put. And now nothing's highlighted here, so this number's blue, which I guess means that it is, but it just moves around, and I haven't noticed that it worked. And then the championship button is also broken. If I put like one-on-one normal and I want it to be 1, and I want like a 1% chance that one championship match can happen on a show, for some reason I noticed when I was testing that all the championships would be on the line every week for every show. And so I don't know why this doesn't work. I kind of wish it would auto book title matches on your weekly shows, but you just kind of have to give that up and wait for pay-per-views, because that button doesn't work here. Obviously, you have your championships, Money in the Bank. Feel free to do whatever with that. You can move the Money in the Banks around, swap them. Um, bring in old titles. I will say, having double champions, you can leave Roman as double champion, you leave the Usos as double champs, or you can make other double champs. I noticed it's just not as fun. On pay-per-views, Roman can only have 1 match, and he can only have it for 1 belt. So you're only going to have one of your main titles being defended at pay-per-views and one of the tag team titles being defended at pay-per-views. I just found it to be more fun. You have more title matches when you have completely separate champions on everything. So I recommend going that route if you want your pay-per-views to be stacked with title matches. Divisions are also super important if you are moving rosters around and stuff. I learned this the hard way last year when I was simming, and my my creative wrestler literally never got a match, it's because I didn't have him in a division. So if you go to the other tab here, it'll have a list of people that aren't in a division. You have to be in a division to get booked for matches. So make sure your people are in divisions. And then, yeah, you can touch these up as you want. And if you're using a created wrestler, I recommend. I noticed putting them at the 4 slot for a division, especially like I would want my guy to start out for the mid card title. Putting him in at the 4 slot, he was actually auto booked 4 matches a lot. Anything beneath that, he struggled to get matches consistently. I don't think he had his first match until like after the first pay per view. So I recommend that 4 slot suite. You're not going to get a title match right off the bat, and you're actually going to get booked pretty fast and frequently at that point. Unless you're in the main card, then if you throw them in the main card, they should get booked super frequently at that point. But again, make sure your wrestlers are all in divisions, or else they're not going to get booked at all. And then the power rankings, I haven't noticed anything really with this. You can move people up or down, but I haven't really noticed that it gets your guy booked better at all. And then if you look at the calendar, if you don't want NXT, pretty easy. You can just delete that out. A couple things to note. I didn't like that these pay-per-views were kind of on the first week of the month. I just wanted it on the 4th week. So I just went out, deleted all these pay-per-views and put them on the 4th week. And I actually started with Hell in a Cell. And then I actually had my last pay-per-view at the end of April. I put as Backlash. I just put WrestleMania at the end of March. I mean, do what you want with it. It doesn't really matter. Again, you're not having rivalries that are building to pay-per-views, but the nice part about turning off rivalries is that the number 1 contenders in your divisions will get title shots at the pay-per-views. So that, I mean, hey, that makes a lot of sense to me. Do you need to be in a rivalry with with Roman Reigns to get a title shot, or should it just be the number 1 contender in that division? The one thing to note here is that the Royal Rumble, even with automatic rivalries turned off, it'll still create a rivalry between the winners of the Royal Rumble and the current champions. And what I noticed is that they will get their title matches at the next pay-per-view. So they will get their title matches at Elimination Chamber or any pay-per-view before WrestleMania. So if you don't want your Rumble winners to fight the champions until WrestleMania, you need to have no pay-per-views in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So what I ended up doing, I just moved Elimination Chamber to the end of October. Again, I kind of moved all these pay-per-views back. So I did like Hell in a Cell here, and I did Money in the Bank in June. Like I just moved all these back a week to the 4th week of the following month. And then I just left. I put War Games here. I think I put Elimination Chamber here, just so my Rumble winners actually have their title matches at WrestleMania, not at Elimination Chamber. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about how your calendar is gonna go. And if you don't make any changes to this calendar, I recommend taking that pay-per-view out just to leave your Royal Rumble there to have those guys face the champs at WrestleMania. But other than that, calendar-wise, that takes care of that. And again, this Raw is already booked. So if you've changed your roster around and changed champions and changed match tables, the only way that it might, it's not 100%, the only way it might rebook is to go and do a tag team, edit it, kind of move the partners around, or create a new tag team, and it might actually rebook. But that's what I've noticed. That's my formula for having fun in this mode and giving it some sort of longevity. It sucks that we have to work around it this much. I wish it could just do kind of random cutscenes and random events and build the pay-per-views normally and not make you fight the same guy if you're in a rivalry. I wish they could touch that up, but by turning those rivalries off and by adding matches to your match table, you will get uh, more diversity in your match types. You'll get an Extreme Rules or a No Holds Barred here and there. Probably every week on your show, you'll have one specialty match, and um, I've configured an accurate match table based on last year's Raw and SmackDown shows, and I'll make another video on that. But that's all I got. That's an easy way to have fun in this mode. It took me forever to figure that out. Again, this is not if you want to fully manage your show and storylines, but even if you wanted to have a nice base to go off and have it auto book and then just kind of reorganize your show at that point, or maybe just change a couple matches around, that's your best bet. But again, even here, your main event is a mixed gender tag that doesn't even really make sense. So it's still not super smart in the auto booking realm, but doing those things will make it better for you, will make it more fun for you. Again, rivalry actions will still happen. You can still play with them and assign them if you want to, or you can just kind of leave it up to chance and see what happens. But for me, this is the best way to have universe mode. This is the way I want to experience it. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully it gives you some longevity to keep you playing this game. Hopefully it gives you some interesting random stuff. And hopefully you enjoyed this. If you want to see uh, videos on anything else with this game, adding shows into universe mode, creative wrestlers, changing choosing different attires for wrestlers, let me know, and let me know if this helps at all. I know for me, it'll keep me playing for a while. Thanks.